Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and we're going to be talking about Isom number 2, the ill-advised arc part 2. It needs to be called the illest snore part 2 because what the hell was this, Eric? Like, it feels like those some sequel movies where we're in the middle of the story and absolutely nothing happens or absolutely nothing is that interesting. Um, I know Eric wrote this by himself, and I think he needed a co-writer or something because it was lackluster. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not gonna sit up here and sugarcoat it with y'all. I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, oh, it's whatever. But hey, we're doing comics. You can tell that he has passion for it. But hey, sometimes some of these books sometimes are just you know what I'm saying. um so of course it starts with Eric July's sister. She's going to the office, and of course she is met with the gangster guy from last issue, you know what I'm saying, Darren. So Darren tries to well, Darren actually comes into her office, tells her like off or whatever. She tries to hit him, he tries to smack her, and of course, it was kind of like a setup because the person, what's his name, Lincoln Asuna bin project founder, comes in and was like, hey, let Darren out or whatever, and let it be known that if you come near her or her family, you're gonna have to be dealing with me or whatever. So then we kind of jump to like some years ago. We don't really know what's going on. We see these people, they're trapped or whatever, and of course, Isom is here to save the day, and of course, he's fighting off this Chachuran. And I think that's what's his name, and who drew this? Who drew this? Cause let me see. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting it together. Cliff Richards. Cliff boy. If you're gonna have covers, I mean, especially Eric, if you're gonna have covers where you got Charan drawn huge, muscular, and huge and bigger than Isom, then Cliff Richards need to understand like this character should have been opposing. You have the character, you have him run, but what you should have did is when he turns around, it should have been a single panel of this character like towering over Isom, and then you have the next one of them running or whatever. And of course, to get into a fight, they're fighting. He's explaining like what's going on or whatever. Apparently, his super strength ain't enough to against the Gray Beast, and he's fighting. He's going after this girl. Isom's trying to stop her, trying to stop him, but he can't. He can't. Defeat him. Nothing's working or anything, and the monster literally crushes her head, and then that's kind of like what his reasoning is for like quitting. And honestly, that is some weak sauce, Eric. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you're gonna have this hero quit on me, you better give me a better reason than this shit. Oh, so so what? He didn't get a chance to save this one character. That is not a good reasoning for him to quit. It kind of makes him look like a wuss. Because if you're gonna have something like that, I would be like, have it where she was like something of an important figure or whatever, and you failed. You know what I'm saying? But this random act without context and then squishing her head. Oh, okay. That's the reason why you quit being a superhero. Weak sauce, bruh. That is weak sauce as I've seen it. I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie to you. It is what it is. Get mad with the wall. I was just not impressed by his background. Like I thought it was gonna be something a little bit more interesting there, and it wasn't. And that's kind of pathetic, honestly, as a person who was excited to find out why did he quit. And now that he's getting back into it, because the guy was like, hey, if I'm helping you out, you can't quit again. So let's talk this through. Let's see what we're going. But once you're back in, you're back in. And then to find out this is the reason why you quit is kind of like weak sauce, bro. Like, it's almost like somebody called you ugly and hurt your feelings, and you just like, I will never do this or that ever again. That's what it felt like to me. Uh so then he gets back to his farm. He gets back to his farm or whatever. And of course, there's like these flaming beast things, and he starts fighting them or whatever. One bites him in his shoulder, and then they just set ablaze, which they set up his farm, his complex, and he's trying to get out of there. And of course, people on his staff comes to help him out. And of course, they call the hero, which is kind of funny because he comes in and he's basically like this hero, this kind of like firefighter kind of guy, and his name is Goodling, and he has Goodling services. So he has the medical response, fire extinguisher, criminal investigation, and more. Package deal as low as $49. Oh god, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. He is hilarious, but he comes to save the day and save Avery's farm complex from being burnt or whatever, while also investigating these little magical creatures. And of course, we kind of transition to the Alpha Core headquarters. They're talking about the events that happened in the last book with how they're searching for Yara, and how the captain leader, he kind of let her go, and because he feels like there's something more is going on. But then they want to know about like what's going on with the young man that they sent to the hospital. Is he a powered being or what? And then we transition back over to Goodwin explaining what was going on with everything, and telling Eric, like, I mean, not Eric, but telling Avery that he can do a little bit more investigating. Um, so then while that's happening, Avery goes to the house, and he takes a long nap. And his sister called him, telling him that Darian was there. But of course, Lincoln was there telling him like, hey, everything is going good. And of course, before anything happened or any plans together, Avery hung up, which I thought is very rude, because it's just like, your sister got attacked by Darian, and her boss is like, hey, your family's going to be under my protection, and here's what we're going to be doing or whatever, and here's plans if you need to come and see her or whatever, and you hung up on her. Like, that's kind of rude. Like, what the hell is that? Why are you doing, what I mean? And of course, the big guy that Avery defeated, he comes in, and Darian was like, hey, he made me look like fool. You need to tell me what's going on. He was like, you don't pay me enough for that. And then he was like, is he a superpower being like you is? He's like, I don't get paid enough for that. And he was like, get out of here. So then we transition again to a wrestling thing, and honestly, it's introducing wrestling. They're talking about wrestling characters. I don't care. I feel like that's so unnecessary. And honestly, I think that's my major criticism right now, is that everybody else that Eric is introducing is more interesting than the main character. That is a problem when Avery is supposed to be your main character. And instead of you focusing on that, it seems like you're focusing more on world building. And I get that. You want to build the world around you, but you're introducing too many characters at once. Like, let's look at early DC and Marvel comic books, when they had a first character, especially when it came to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. We didn't see the world being set up until maybe 3 to 4, 5 years later after their debut. And I get that you're trying to create a comic book universe, but even look at Spawn. Look at Spawn. Yeah, the world was introduced, but the seven issues of Spawn was focused on Al Simmons, and then we focused on the world and start expanding. I want cohesiveness of focusing on Avery himself. We need to focus on Avery's goal. And then what happened to the girl, Tasha? Like, where's she at? She doesn't even show up in this book at all. So what's going on? Like, the whole point of you getting back into this is because your sister asked you to investigate a girl that led to Darian, that led to you getting your ass whooped, and then getting back into the superhero thing. Now we're introducing Yara, we're introducing Alpha Core, we're introducing Lincoln, we're introducing Charloon, we're introducing Bloodroot, we're introducing a lot of these characters that's great and all, but that's too many characters introduced. It's basically like how everybody got upset at Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, where, oh, the movie's called Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, but yet you got Wonder Woman, um you got the setup for the Justice League, you got characters from Man of Steel, you got characters from Batman's world, putting it together to try to tell a cohesive story, and everybody was like, oh, it was just so overcrowded. Even though I kind of understand, because it is a Batman versus Superman movie, so you know what I'm saying. But we have to kind of look at it like that. If the book is called Isom and we're focusing on the ill-advised arc of the character Texas of Texas, I mean of Avery, right? Then I want to focus on Avery. We shouldn't be introduced. We shouldn't have been thrown teasers of Yara, Alpha Core, Chaloon if they weren't going to be major parts of the story right now. And especially when you want a focus right now, like the first three issues should have been him fighting, getting back into the superhero thing or whatever. Especially for a hero that's been abandoned or whatever. You want like the first book, and especially the first arc, to end with him defeating the main villains, but throughout that he had to go through the struggle of fighting villains, not introducing brand new other characters. It seems like this book is more interested in building the world up and building more characters up that are more interesting than Isom, and Isom is your lead character. That is a problem. But let me get back into that. Of course, Lincoln goes out with his assistants, and they talk about some things, and then they run into the assistant Sally, and she was telling like, oh, hey, I'm doing this other stuff right now at the office, and thanks for trying to make me full time, but I like my position the way I am. And then of course, bam, it was secretly Yara in disguise. And of course, Lincoln talks about it, but Lincoln and Jason, they're driving to wherever they're going, and of course, Darren, said that he was gonna come back after him, and of course, Lincoln knew that Jason was going to betray him and stuff like that. So he knocked him out. I mean, well, punched him or whatever. They drive into a cliff, and then bam, that's it. And of course, Avery goes out. He goes to Goodwin's place, and they talk about what was going on. They're talking about how one of his friends is missing, and the wife came. Um, and they explain that they start talking about something about the war and these creatures, and he said, hey, I got a contact, talk to her, she can help you out with what's going on, because we need to find out what's going on. At first Avery didn't want to do it, but Goodwin was like, hey, look, in order to figure out what's going on, all these creatures, you need to go and talk to this associate of mine. So he sends him off, right? And of course, he decides to go back home, take another nap for a couple of days, train a little bit more, and then he finally puts on the suit, and then of course he gets in the truck, and he drives off, which honestly is just like, wait, you put him in a truck in Texas, especially for a superhero like that, with all of the money or whatever. You mean tell me you didn't think about having like a souped up Jeep or a truck or something like that was retired or whatever? Because think about it, like, if you're driving the average car, anybody can easily track that car down to you know, your farm, your complex. Like, I don't think you thought about that kind of thing. Like, you have to think about this kind of thing. I keep trying to tell people. Sometimes you got to think about the small details. I know some people are like, oh, just kind of let it go or whatever. But sometimes you just can't. Sometimes some of that stuff you just be like, man, come on now, what is this? Like, Avery should have had like a truck, a rocket launcher, or he should have had a friend that can airdrop him down there or whatever. Like, how basic other superheroes have. Like, if you're gonna have Avery drive a truck, that truck need to be souped up. It need to be able to transform and roll out, remote control or whatever, something like that. Just to give the a little bit, just to give it a little bit of something. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, but let's see. We finally get to the place, and Cliff Richards, boy, no, that running scene that you drew was just hot crap. And Isom finally gets to this castle in the middle of nowhere, and of course, crows and a wolf and some dragon thing. They start kind of attacking him. Um, and he, of course, he fights him off, and of course, Bloodruth comes. That's the character. That's the character of the cover. Which I ain't gonna lie, Eric, you know how to make the female characters very interesting. I'll give him some credit for that one. Both Bloodruth and Yara are some interesting female characters. He really designed them very well and made them very interesting to look at and to want to know more about. Like, I want to know more about Bloodruth and Yara than I do about Isom. And again, that is a problem. Cause Isom is supposed to be my lead character. That, what I'm saying, it's the same thing as like when I was trying to tell Fizz about Goofing bitch. Like, you're trying, all your other characters are way more interesting than Goofinoid. Yeah, but I want to. Well, I'm sorry, you're not making your lead character that interesting, but your other side characters are more interesting than your lead character. That's on you. That means you need to come back to Jesus, and you need to be able to um rework the character and make him interesting. Like, I expect after Isom, I expect in Isom 3 his ass is going to be interesting. I hope so, because if not, I don't know what to tell you. Because right now, I'm just waiting for Yara at this point. I mean, I got Alpha Core. Don't worry, guys. I do have Alpha Core. I just haven't. I just received it this week. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm just doing a review on this one because I finally got some time to sit at home. So of course, I was going to review this as well. So, Isom tell that Goodwin sent him, and Bloodruth was like, okay, well, follow me because, all of these demon things. And of course, they start talking about multiverses and, the travels of hell. And he was like, hell. And she was like, yeah, hell has different dimensions in it. And he was like, so like a multiverse. She was like, no, don't be silly. Multiverses doesn't exist. So I guess he's basically trying to tell us, like, hey, multiverses don't exist. We're not doing that thing, but there are dimensions. So they decided to go out. I mean, she does a little research. They once they talk about everything, she calls her little pet dragon, and Isom runs, leap, and then jumps on the dragon's tail. I mean, leg. They fly down. Even though she kind of wanted to kind of be sneaky, Isom crashed down, beat some of the guys up. Ruth uses her blood to, create a light, and then they're surrounded by all these little demon creatures. They fight off. They fight off everyone. Um, they're at questioning each other, like, what are they? They were like, no time for that. And he was like, I gotta find my friend. And they keep fighting, and that's what it is. It's just a big old kind of fight scene. Um, they finally get to stopping some of those creatures, and Bloodruth was like, hey, the further we go down, the more dangerous it's going to get, and if anything happens, I'm out. He was like, you do what you got to do, but I'm here to find a friend. And once they get further down in the cave, there is like a big army of these little demon things. And Isom was like, hey, there's a gate up there. You think you can get up there and free my friend from over there? And then she was like, well, I can't really fly up there. And he was like, well, I'll give you a boost. So she goes up there. Avery is down there fighting these little demon creatures. He just fighting and fighting and fighting. A little bit. I kind of would want to see a little bit more dynamic coming from Cliff Richards. That's all I'm saying. I just would want to see more of a dynamic fight. But other than that, Bloodruth, she touches the wall with her blood, and she screams. It tires her out. She breaks through the prison, and everybody's dead. And Sam, but besides Sam, and then he's like, hey, I'm looking, your friend sent me for you, and then it's like busting us out. And then of course Bloodruth absorbs a lot of the blood that was around, and Sam starts running, and before he walks out and runs out the cave, we see his back glows, and she's like, hey, isn't that your friend down there? And then he's like, she's buying us some time, and then he was like, we gotta get down there. She's like, okay. They go down, they kind of hit, they kind of go down there, kind of fight help Avery a little bit, but then Isom was like, nah, get Sam out of here, and I'll be fine on my own. And basically, they get out the cave. Honestly, That's that's pretty much it. One guy tries to blow up Isom. One of these demon things tried to blow up Isom, but it backfired because he pushed them out on everybody else. There was a big explosion. Avery runs out of the cave. And while he's doing that, he was like, some demon thing was like, I underestimated humans. Our presence is no longer necessary. All that has been confirmed, and we must eliminate. And then that's it. And that's about it. And then we're supposed to be getting issue number 3. So overall, it felt lackluster. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. It felt like you're trying to set up a bigger world, but it's just like, whoa, this is like a little bit too much. Maybe slow it down. Hopefully the Isom number 3 ill-advised art will solely focus on Isom, making him a little bit more interesting, define what he is, what his powers is. I don't have time for this we don't know crap. Define his powers, define his abilities. Let's do that. Because I thought that we were going to find out here in this issue, and we still don't know. Like, does he have latent super strength, in a little bit of endurance, or what? Like, what is he? Or is he just an average human that can just punch real well? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to give me something better than that, you know? But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on Isom number 2. Have you guys read it? Let me know in the comment section below. I will be trying to get Alpha Core out by early this week, hopefully. But I just wanted to kind of get this out right now, give y'all a little bit of my opinions and thoughts. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.